This episode is being sponsored by Travel Perfection and more. If you're looking to travel, go on excursions, need flights, hotels, planning events, or you just need assistance with rental cars, contact them today at 480 264 7203. That's 480 264 7203. You can also find them on the web at www.travelperfectionandmore.com. Let's work. You're now, that's what's important. We experience a collapse in our life structure most of the time because we failed to funeralize failed yesterdays. You have to be strong enough basically to realize you can elevate out of your current situation. Instead of looking at where you think you should be by now, look at where you have grown out of. There are many individuals who need help with their blueprint, and I want to be that vessel, nothing special, just that mouthpiece to inspire you to construct the best version of your life that you can be. Welcome back to another episode of the LifeStruction with Eric podcast. I am your host, Eric. Life builders, do yourself a favor and give yourself a hand applause for being serious about your LifeStruction. Give yourself a hand of applause. Yes, yes, yes. Man, if no one has told you how proud they are of you on today, let me be the first. You may not be where you want to be, but guess what? You're in a much better position than you were last month at this time. How do I know? Because I'm watching. I'm definitely watching and I see progress. So, hey, I am proud of you. So, please keep pushing forward. Keep pushing forward. Yeah. Man, happy Monday to you. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend and hopefully your week is off to a great start. I woke up this morning and man, I wake up, I always read and after I read and pray and meditate, then I grab my phone, look through my emails and all of that good stuff. And right when I grabbed my phone this morning and I was getting ready to check my email, I got a notification saying, congratulations, you have sold, you have your first purchase on your website. Now, last week, I kind of explained this backdrop here of my crowns my one-of-a-kind crowns that I have been designing. I kind of explained that to you last week. So I've been doing this now for about a year. Been doing it for about a year, but most of it was word of mouth, people that I know. So they would either inbox me on social media or they would text me and basically, ask me, how much and, you know, can I do a hat for them? So that's basically how most of my marketing was going. So I have my collection on my website, but no one had purchased the hat. I get a lot of traffic, but no one had actually went to my website and actually purchased a hat via the website. Mostly I was just doing made to orders. And yeah, this morning I grabbed my phone and I was looking and it popped up notification. You have your first purchase has been made on your website. So I'm looking and it was someone in Louisiana. So then I'm looking at the name, which I didn't notice. And then I um I took the name and I started going through people that had shared my post and all of that, trying to see if it was a mutual friend. Wasn't a mutual friend. And then uh later this morning, I go on TikTok and I had a message basically well, somebody had commented on one of my videos and he said, I purchased a hat from you. I love your videos and I'm so excited to get my hat. And I know for sure I'm going to be purchasing more from you. And I was like, I was so stoked. So I was so excited, so excited. And last week I talked about that support. I talked about support last week. And it's just amazing. Social media. A lot of people don't do social media, but it's amazing when you stay consistent. You stay consistent and your posts fall on someone's timeline and someone that you don't even know, and they basically, you know, see something in your product and they're excited and they purchase from you. So I'm just grateful. I was definitely grateful this morning. I've been on a high all day off of that, was totally excited. And man, so yeah, for those of you that haven't yet to go and look on my website, definitely do it. I should have that ticker going across the bottom here, but I don't. But let me switch it up for you so you can see it. But if you're listening via audio, make sure you go to ericwinfieldcrowns.com. ericwinfieldcrowns.com. And hey, check out my collection. And if nothing is on there that you like, you can always send me a message and we can custom design one for you. Yeah, definitely check out the hat collection. Definitely do that. Go to my website, check out the hats. But last week, a friend of mine and we were kind of chatting, had a really good conversation as we always do. And we were kind of talking about some of the things that, our parents didn't talk to us about, you know, when we were kids. And it went from us talking about that to talking about how a lot of things that we don't talk about now as adults because we, I guess, in a sense, don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. We want to keep the peace. So we just basically don't talk about stuff. And it got me to thinking about a lot of a lot of a lot of areas in our lives that those muted conversations, because of those muted conversations, basically it has a lot to do with the person that we are today. Because of those muted conversations, you know, we didn't have knowledge in a lot of areas, because of those muted conversations, we made a lot of mistakes in life because we didn't have a clue on, how to go about doing things. So basically, we experimented, or we let peer pressure uh be more so the um the reason that we basically made a lot of decisions that we have made in life, you know, and that's why a lot of us today, we're kind of in the spot that we're in because basically those muted conversations, a lot of things that we never talked about, you know, we were never talked about too, should I say, when we were a kid, money, you know, they have some amazing uh financial literacy info today, not only for adults, but for kids as well, to teach you, how to budget, teach you how to invest, to teach you how to do that monthly and weekly budget, man. And, it's just amazing how it can help you create that foundation for you to learn and respect the value of money, but meanwhile, growing up, we weren't informed of a lot of this. So basically, with us not being informed, we made a lot of bad, you know, decisions when it came to, money. As quick as we got it, we spent it. Before we even got it, actually, we had already spent it because, we wanted what we wanted. And basically, if we had the money, we were going to purchase it. And a lot of us still up until today, it's like, hey, well, this bill is due on Friday, but I'm gonna put something on it because I definitely need to get this before it go off sale, or hey, this bill is due on Monday, but I'm gonna go to the mall with my friends on Saturday and I'm gonna buy this and I'll figure out something before Monday to make sure I get that bill paid. And that is not the way that it's intended to work. Basically, what I have learned is creating that budget and basically saving, paying, paying what you need to be paid, but saving, putting up and save until you actually have enough save to get what you want. You don't have to get it today because it came out today. And that's the thing with a lot of, us today. Soon as that new iPhone or that new Android drops, soon as those new Jordans drop, you want to go out and get it. You will borrow money. You will not pay your light bill to go, because you want to make sure you are one of the first ones to get that. But if you understand the value of a dollar, if you understand that having money in your account, is more important than you having your account in the red. It's just so much more less stressful when you are able to save and save and save. And basically, let's say you're saving up for your vacation. We don't just jump up today and say, hey, I'm going to Vegas next Saturday. No, you set that date maybe 6 months back, maybe a year back, and say, I'm going to Vegas for 5 days, uh, March 2024, and you just start saving for it, or a cruise or what have you, and you start saving, you putting away. That way you're still paying your bills and you still are working towards your trip, but you're not lacking for anything, and you actually can see your money stack up. But once again, that was a muted conversation when we were growing up, talking about sex. I hear a lot of people say, hey, your girls, They're 14 and 15. Have you had to talk with them yet? And I hear a lot of people that's like, hey, I dread having this talk with them. But then at the same time, it's a lot of people that they are very comfortable with having that talk, with their teenage kids. And it's something that we weren't talked to about when we were small. You know, that's why, we were very, very, um, very curious, should I say. Dag snabbits. We were very curious. So back then, it was finding the little X-rated magazine. You had your Penthouse, you had your Playboy, and then there were some that they were just not a not a well-known name, but they showed everything. And at least three people in your family, you could go to their house and find one up under their mattress. And basically, that's what we did. We looked at these magazines, and then basically we experimented, not knowing what we were doing. We were never told to basically, first of all, quote unquote, wait until you're married before you have sex. But more than anything, we were never told to make sure that you have safe sex. Make sure you put on a condom. So basically what happened was, that's why so many people, start to turn up 14 and pregnant, 16 and pregnant, young man, well, a young teenager, should I say, that didn't even know how to wash his own behind real good. And you got somebody pregnant. Now you talking about you got to raise a kid. You haven't been thoroughly raised yourself. But this was a muted conversation that we didn't have. We never had that muted conversation, and to take it a step further, what about talking to, you know, your kids about relationships, the people that you get into relationships with, you know, um, make sure that that young man or that young girl has morals. Make sure that they have goals in life. They want to be something. you know what kind of grades do they make in school? Not to lie to your parents. Don't go lying to your parents. Oh yeah, he loves to go to church, and yeah, he makes straight A's, and he's making F's, and he don't even know what a church is. But don't lie to your parents just so you can date this person. Basically, if you value yourself, then you put high expectations on that young man or that young lady. So therefore, you need to confirm if they're making good grades. You need to confirm if they have goals, what type of goals they have set for the future. You need to confirm if they know the 10 commandments. You need to confirm if they know the 23rd Psalms. You need to confirm if they know anything about the Bible, especially, if you love the Lord, then basically you need someone that's compatible, because two people that's not compatible, I promise you, it's not going to work. But these were muted conversations that were never talked about when we were small. That's the reason why we dated people, because of how they look. We dated people because they were well known and they were popular. We dated people because we liked the car that they drove. But at the same time, we didn't know nothing about them. And guess what? You messed around as a girl and you got pregnant by this guy, or as a guy, you got that girl pregnant. And it wasn't because you were too young to be a parent that you walked away. Basically, you discovered after the fact that they were pregnant, that you weren't even compatible with this person, and you didn't even like this person. But basically, if you were told these muted conversations, don't just lay down and have sex with anybody, you know, save yourself, find out who this person is, learn this person, you know, and these are things that we were never talked to about, we were never talked about, about these things. You have, and up to today, we have friends, you know, we supposed to be friends, but there are certain conversations that we should have, but what do? We never talk. Muted conversations. And basically, these conversations are never had as two friends because you don't want to step on their toes and they don't, or either they don't want to step on your toes. You don't want to hurt each other's feelings. So you kind of just have a platonic friendship, basically, I guess that's what you want to call it. You know, we hang out, we are friends, but at the same time, there are certain things that you don't like about this friend. There are certain things that they disapprove of you, but nobody wants to talk about it because you don't want to deal with it because you're scared of how they're going to receive what you are giving them. So basically, you never talk about it. You never talk about it. And I'm like, why, how are we best of friends? And there are certain conversations that we should be having, but we put them on mute. We put them on mute, because first of all, if we're friends, the way that I look at it, it shouldn't be any secrets. You know, if I have something that I'm going through, I should be able to talk to you about it. If I have some issues that I'm going through, I should be able to talk to you about it. If there is something in my past that has happened and I just feel that we should be able to talk about it. You know, uh take for granted, I have, you know, I, I have someone that's I'm not going to say we're friends, but we're pretty cool. And they shared with me that their husband cheated, years ago their husband cheated, and they had never told anyone about it, and they shared it with me, and it was basically, it was like I just had, and the reason that it came up, we were talking about someone that was kind of going through a situation where there had been some infidelity, and I said, well, if they really love them and they want to forgive them, that's on them. I just feel like if you're going to forgive them, you need to totally forgive them and don't bring it up again. Don't throw it back in their face. And more than anything, counseling probably will be mandatory for them. And that's when this person, they shared with me that it had happened to them, and they definitely went to counseling. They totally forgave them. They felt like they played a part in the reason why the significant other did what they did, but at the same time, uh it should have never happened, but they were able to work through it. Uh and these are the things that some people don't talk about, and they walk around, and it's okay to talk about this stuff. It's, take for granted, you know, um, I'm sure you guys know of someone that's been married, for years. You see some people say, we've been married, for 50 years. We celebrated 60 years. And then they'll follow it up and say, we have never had an argument. We have never had not one bad day. And me, I'm like, you lying or he's lying, because there's no such thing. And y'all might argue with me, but hear me out. There is no such thing that you have been with someone for 50 or 60 years and you have never had an argument. If you never had an argument, trust me, there are times that they did something that pissed you off, and you just put yourself on mute so you can voice your opinion. So if you did that, then you've been living uncomfortably. And more than likely, they did the same thing. They put themselves on mute so they didn't hurt your feelings. Like I just said about friends that are friends, and basically they walk around in silence because they don't want to hurt the other one's feelings. Same thing in a marriage. You say that you have never had an argument. It's no way that your spouse don't hasn't never done nothing to you that basically pissed you off to the fullest. I just cannot believe that. And so basically what happens in that situation is, you will just put yourself on mute so you won't voice your opinion. So the crap keeps happening over and over again because basically they don't know what they're doing is pissing you off, or they know they know that you may not approve of it, but they'll feel like, well, obviously it's okay. They never said anything. So who's living uncomfortable? The both of you. And guess what? If that is your case, more than likely you sleep in separate rooms and separate beds because you're trying, you're doing everything you can to keep the peace. You're doing everything you can to avoid that person. So you really don't have to bring it up. So who wants to live like that? That's no way to live. And most of the time, when you feel like you know a person, basically you don't want to talk about it because you feel like as soon as you bring it up, they go, da da. I know you ain't talking to me. Well, you do this and you did cha 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 cha. So you trying to get your point across, but you know that person gonna chop you the hell off as soon as you start talking about, because they are the type of person that they don't ever want to be wrong. So basically, as soon as you start talking, they just jump straight in and chop you off, or they start bringing up stuff that basically you done to try to make you forget about what you was talking about. Because now, guess what? You're pissed off. You're pissed off. It's like, see, that's why I didn't want to even argue with this person because, well, not. Let me retract that. This is the reason why I didn't even want to bring this up, because I know that you weren't going to listen. So for that reason, you just put yourself on mute. You put yourself on mute. And that is the reason that I feel a lot of things that we weren't talked about, talked to about when we were young. I think that's why we have such a hard time today, basically talking about stuff that we really need to decapitate at the root so we can live comfortably, because we feel it's okay to mute conversations. We feel that people may not, because when we were young, our parents probably thought, well, they're not old enough, they're not ready for this conversation. And basically, you can go into your adulthood thinking the same thing, well, you're not going to think they're too young because you're adults now if you're talking to another adult. But if it's your kid, you could. But I think for the most part, most households today, they are informing their kids, about sex. They're informing their kids about what to expect in a relationship. They're informing their kids about, valuing themselves, and they're definitely informing their kids about money. and, creating that budget and spending wisely. But on the other hand, when it comes to adults, I think because of how we grew up experiencing those topics that was muted, that is the reason why we have a hard time when we are challenged with talking to another adult about some of these issues. We basically keep putting it off, or I'll talk to him later. I'll talk to him another day. And we just keep muting our conversations that should be had. We just keep muting those conversations that we should be had. So if this discussion is speaking to you today, you know, I just encourage you to have these conversations, have these conversations, because if you don't have the conversation, then and something happens, you know, if it's your children and your children happen to go south because these conversations wasn't uh handled, they weren't discussed in the home, then basically you are going to carry that guilt. So have those conversations with your children. Have those conversations with family. Have those conversations with your friend. If your friends are doing something that you know is wrong, have those conversations. Please do. You know, I see, I work at the airport and I see people traveling sometimes, and let's say it's a group of five, and you got four out of the five, and they are dressed very, very nice, dressed very nice. And then you have one, and she's got on the booty shorts, she's got on a low cut top, boobs setting up, you know, a little bit of booty cheek hanging out the shorts. And I'm like, how did this happen? Everybody looks so elegant. And then we have this one that looks like this. And none of y'all that's supposed to be friends said, girl, look at how we dressing. Take that off, you know, because guess what? People will, and I get it. We say it all the time about not judging a book by its cover, but the way that you market yourself is the way that someone that may be ready to invest in you, it's the way that they will portray you. So basically, if you are dressed like a hoochie, then the person that may be ready to invest in you, all he's seeing you is sex. If you are dressed very elegantly, then the person that may be uh, thinking about investing in you, they will see you as a respectful, beautiful woman that has great values and morals about yourself, and they'll step up to you with respect. So, as friends, we need to pull each other up on that. Don't dress like that. If you're out in public and you got that one and he's cursing, dropping the F bomb, dude, we out in public and you out here talking about you trying to, find you a woman, but listen at the way that you talk. So basically, we need to have people to have conversations with people like that, because the only way that they would change is if they have someone in their circle that will not even have a care in the world about hurting your feelings if they say something to you that you feel because basically we're correction. A true friend will step forward real quick when correction is in order. That's the way I look at it. When correction is in order, a true friend will step forward quick and correct you if you're doing something that's not right. So definitely, man, I just encourage you all to have these take yourself off of mute. Take yourself off of mute and voice your opinion. Voice the way that you feel. Voice your knowledge and concern. Voice, things towards people that mean something to you that will help them grow. Because we all have potential. And when you know that that person has great potential and you see something that's basically pulling them, in the opposite direction, voice your opinion. Talk to them. Take yourself off of mute and talk to them. That's the only way that they will be able to grow is basically you voice, you taking the time and not worrying about hurting their feelings and voicing your opinion. That's basically the only thing that's going to basically free some people by taking ourselves off of mute and having these discussions that's going to help people, to progress, going to help people to build and move forward in life. So definitely do that. Take yourself off of mute and help someone change to be a better person. So, yeah, as we conclude today's episode, remember you are called to take yourself off of mute and make yourself available to pour into people that need to knowledge up so they can add tools to their life structure. Thank you for tuning in to the LifeStruction podcast. Be sure to subscribe and share this episode with anyone who could benefit from learning the art of taking themselves off of mute and using their voice to pour into someone to give them knowledge on those conversations that many will not have with them. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes that empower and enrich our lives. Until next time, this is your host, Eric, and I'm signing off. Until next time, peace.